So, welcome guys. Let me restart this once again and do this in a better format. I have improved the content. Okay, so let's start with what is declarative rendering. Declarative rendering means that you write what you want and want to see in the that is the UI, and not how to update it when the data changes. Right. So basically, do you write what you want to see in the HTML code and not how to update it in the JavaScript. All right. View automatically keeps your UI in sync with your data. So let's see this. Let's use this to make a complete example out of this, right? So let's go to the AI and ask it to generate us some good content. I think it should be somewhere around here. What is the perplexity? Okay, Control V. Let's go this. Okay, and before I do that, let me go to the stream and check the audio video quality to see if the content is up to the mark or not. Okay. And before I do that, it is up to the mark. So let's move on. Okay, let's copy this code. What do you expect? Write the entire code. Right, write the entire code. Okay, here we have this entire code, and let's copy and paste it right here. Okay, and I also have this. And this should be application and not app. All right, let's go and render this. Before that, let's see what to expect. So page shows hello view and a button. Clicking the button changes the text to you change the message, and no manual DOM updates are needed. View does it for you. Okay, so let's see if this happens or not. Okay, I've clicked here. Hello view, change the message. Oh, you changed the message. So it is doing whatever we need on the page itself. We do not need to define the code. We do not need to explain this stuff here in the JavaScript. All right. Let's address some common questions. Do I need to update the HTML myself if the message changes? No. Okay. View handles all the updates automatically. And why is it called declarative? Because you declare the desired results, not the steps to get there. Okay. And let's move on to the next topic. What is reactivity? Basically, reactivity means that your UI updates automatically when your data changes. With V model, the fields and the data stay in sync. All right. So basically, whenever we change something on the page, our data in the memory changes. Let's take this, and let's take this. Is it getting hot? No, my PC is not getting hot. It's just that it does not have enough charge. That's why it's lagging a bit. No worries. Just bear this small issue with me. Mhm. Here is the complete code. Let me use this code and copy and paste it right here. Apart from this, let me change the address, because with wrong address the code will not run. Here this file is named app.js, however in my original data it is named as application.js. Alright, so what to expect from this code is try in the input update the greeting life, and the data and the UI stay in sync automatically. Okay, what to expect from this code? Try typing the input updates the greeting live. Okay, so basically let's say chit, right? So whatever I'm doing, it's mirroring it. Okay, hello Suchit, SHARMA, right? It's doing it immediately. Hello, or I can even write hail. Okay, I can even write hey. Let's see, Jaga Jasus, or hello MK Stalin. No, let's move MK Modi. Okay, I can write anything and it will update it immediately. As you can see, this is what to expect from reactivity and two-way binding. Alright, if I reload this, it will immediately get cleared on its own. And whenever I write anything here, this is called reactivity. Okay, that it reacts immediately. This is an example of reactivity. So what are the common questions? What does reactive mean? The UI reacts to the change in data. So basically I'm changing the data here and the UI is reacting to it. Alright, what is two-way binding? Yes, the recording is going. What is two-way binding? It basically changes the input data and changes the data and changes in the data update the input. Okay, let's see what view directives are. Directive basically is special HTML attributes that add reactive features. Okay, these directives add reactive features to it. So basically bind, what this does is binds attribute to the data. What model does is gives us two-way input binding, and what on does is handles events, that is clicking and all, clicking timers and all that. So why use vbind instead of src? Basically so that the value can change dynamically with the data. And what this does is basically runs a method when the button is clicked. This entire section is covered in week 3. Okay, let me write it. Covered in week 3. Let's move forward and move on to classes and style binding. All right, what is it? Basically dynamically add or remove css classes and elements based on your data. What is css? Css is this styling, basically styling this red color, this logo, this section, this placement. Basically all of this is styling of a page, right? So let me show you what class and style binding does. It dynamically changes. In the previous example we saw it dynamically change. See, in reactivity we saw the page dynamically change the data input, right? And what we'll expect here is it will change the css classes or styles at the same time whenever a input is given. Okay, so let's make an example out of this, and after that I'll show it live. All right. I have the HTML code that is required. Let me do this. Change the location, as the location on the AI is not correct. AI, the location on the AI is correct in the context of the application that the AI is making. In our context, we have to change the location because the name of the application is changed here. All right. Let's rewrite this. So if I click on this, see, dynamically changing CSS, dynamically changing styling. All right. As you can see, I click and the CSS varies on the UI itself without writing a bulky code in the JavaScript. What are the common questions? Do you need to manually add or remove classes? No. Vue does it for you. In this case, Vue is doing this for us. All right. Can I apply multiple classes at once? Can I apply multiple classes at once? Yes, you can. You can just add more keys to the object, right? Here we have object. Where is the object? This active and style. We can add more keys in this section. All right. And we can do multiple classes, because see, this is a separate class and this one is a separate class. All right, let me remove this one is a separate class and this one is a separate class in itself. All right. Let's move on to conditional rendering. Is it stuck? Is it stuck? What's happening? Okay, it's not. Okay, basically it shows or hides data using if, else, or show. Okay, using if, else, or show. Let's use this, and okay, let's not take this. Okay, let's use this to make an example code so that I can show it to you. Let's take this code. Let's paste the code. Okay, in the previous code, what's happening is, you can see this section. Before I move on, I don't think I have taught this in the detail it needs to be taught. And style binding, in style binding, you can see this section. All right, this section. Basically, what's happening is, we're making two separate classes. All right, these two separate classes have two different toggle, they have two different buttons, independent buttons, which are defined here. All right, can you see the different buttons? The toggle active is corresponding to is active, and the toggle error is corresponding to has error. Okay, text danger. All right. So what this code does is, whenever you click on it, the code becomes so basically this is true. When we are defining it here, in this section, both of okay, my bad, I am clicking this and this. Okay, both of these are true values. Let me change the color. Both of these are true value. Okay, true value. And whenever a button is clicked, in either of the case, the value, see, this is the sign for not. Okay, this is the sign for not. So the value changes to it's negation. So true becomes false, false become true. So in this case both were true, they became false. If they're clicked once again, then it supersedes and makes it true. Same here. Again, if I click on this, they become false. I do not have a thicker marker, or else I would have just somehow made this into true. Okay. So I think you get the point. All right. And for each of these, they have separate colors corresponding to them being true or false. Okay. So the initial value, sorry, whenever the change in active is seen, that whenever change in active is seen, you can easily check the color is changing in the background, as you can see here. Okay. And whenever the change in danger is seen, font weight becomes bold and the color becomes red. Okay, that is error, but it's showing error here. And we have text.danger. So the thing is, the text.danger and active, both of these, what are these? They're keys. Okay, they're keys, and they have certain values inside it. So whenever we are corresponding this to this, the values will hold the values. But however, to change or do or reference whatever is happening, you'll have to reference the keys. All right, you have to reference the keys whenever you have to work with values or whatever the values hold. All right, I hope that makes the question more clearer. I guess similar sort of explanation I can give you for the upper one. Which one? This one. Let's not see. I will not be doing this third part because this is covered in week 3 in its entirety. Go and watch that video and you'll learn it. Okay, reactivity, right? So in the reactivity section, let's go on to the code, not the main code, just the code. So whenever the v model is username and placeholder is enter your name, both of these are classes, and they have certain value. Okay, my bad, they have certain value. Okay, so the username here is empty, and whatever we input right here will automatically be shown, automatically be printed in this section of the code because of this section of the code. All right. Let's see. Let's copy this. Control V. Am I doing something wrong? Okay, no, this is the toggle one. Okay, we don't need the toggle one. We need this. Okay. And for the JavaScript, I'm not elaborating JavaScript because these are simple Java. This is really simple. Hey, get away. What this does is EL just connects the application.js to application.html using this path, using this pathway. All right. Let's move on to here. Basically, we have username, the thing, and yes, that's it. Let's run this code and see. Alright, so whatever we'll write, why is it not automatically coming this time? Because of this, we did not locate it. Application. Alright, now this will come. Yet it is okay, but this A control is okay. This, see, instantaneous. Right, this is the username section, and the username basically takes the data and assigns the username some value. All right, let's move forward. I've done classes and styling. Apart from that, let's go on to conditional rendering and the example on this, and I'll try to explain the code a bit more in detail. However, I personally think that the examples don't need that much explanation in themselves. Okay, let's copy this if the code is done. Change the pathway. Let's copy the Java code. We are placing logged in as false. Okay, and what this is doing is we are making a button, and whenever we'll click on that button, the value of the logged in will become inverse or negation of the logged in. Okay, so what this means is, okay, let me put this right here. What this means is, if this was true, it will become false. If this was 0, it will become 1. If this was what are the other binary examples? If this was, say, hot, it will become cold. Okay, not in the literal sense, but in theory. What's of use to us is this section and only this section. All right, only this section. Basically, true becomes false, and logged in has the word logout on it, and once it is clicked, it will become login. Okay, the negation of logout is now login, and our button clause gets closed. Okay, and if logged in is true, then we'll print welcome back, and if that is not true, that is else case, will print please log in. All right, let's show this right here. Okay, login blah 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 blah. Okay, so basically login, I click on this, it becomes welcome back. I click on it again, please log in. Okay, that is dynamically changing. What to expect? What to expect is this. What is the difference between the if and show? So in our example, we have, where is it? We have if and not show. We are not shown the example of show, but this is an example of if, right? If I click on this, something will happen. And for show, luckily I have something right here. It will hide the value. Okay, see, I'm writing but it's not showing the stuff that I'm writing. So let's say I'm writing the password. No, do you guys know what did I write? No, no. But once I click on it, you can. All right. So this is an example of show. So what's the difference between if and show? That if adds or removes the element, right? Clicking here adds a certain element and removes the previous element. All right. However, show just hides or shows it with CSS. Basically, changing the styling. Okay, the data exists there. Just CSS changes the visual effects. All right. However, here when I once I click on this, so let me remove this. Okay. So this quote welcome back. When I click on the button, it ceases to exist. Welcome back does not exist on this page anywhere. Okay, it's not that the CSS styling has changed or the wording has changed. The string welcome back does not exist in this. Let's move on to lists and loops. All right. Okay. So we have a loop that is v for to render a list of items from an array, object, or string. So basically, render something from something that is iterable. From some iterable object, we show or print something. All right. Let's go to GPT Baba, basically AI Baba, and ask him to give us the example in its entirety, the entire code. All right, do we have the code? Yes, we do have the code. Let's change the address. Although you guys might be guessing why am I not doing this in the AI itself, telling it to just change it, but this shows awareness of the code, right? That I'm aware of my code. See, so we have this for loop here. We have user and index, basically key and its value in the users, wherein the key is user.id, and what we'll do in index is iterated plus one. So this will go from values 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then the username, which is mutable, which we can change, which we can update. All right, and we on click. So basically when we click on this, add user, it will show us the text add user. Okay, this is still not correct. Why every time I write it, it brings some jadui word here. Okay, so let's see what happens. Let me reload this. Add user, add user, add user, add user 4, add user 5, add user 6. But is there some way to edit this name? Okay, list displays all the user with their number and name. Clicking add user adds new user to the list instantly. Okay, so we have add user does, but have we given the name? Okay, so we have given the name, but take this does not take in the name. All right, we in the JavaScript we have written a object and a method. We have two elements defined already and a method to iterate and add other elements. However, we cannot manually enter the name. We cannot manually enter the name in the as in the previous cases. Here it will just simply add user 3, user 4, user 5, and so on, because it just takes in the next ID. It does not care of the name or the user input. We can make it so that we can also add the name, like we can add user 3 to be some name, let's say Chunnu, and then the next name to be Munnu, and the fifth name to be Gunnu. But we need another code for that. We need to change our code for that. However, the theory, what I'm trying to teach here is this, that we for this loop can render a list of items or an array. All right, I do not really need at the moment them to be mutable. So what is colon key? It helps the view track items for fast and correct updates. All right, especially if the list changes. Can I loop over objects? Yes, we can loop over object. As seen in this example, we are looping over an object. All right, which object? This object. Wait a second. Yes, which object? This object, and these values. View model pattern. So what is a view model pattern? Oh, come on, why are you like this? Basically, what a view model pattern is, it manages your data, computed value, and connects your data to the UI. Basically, the model is your data uh, from the server or the database. View is what you see in the HTML coding with CSS styling, and view model is the view instance that binds them together. Basically, what view model does is binds these two together in a single package. All right, what to expect? Changing data in view instance updates the UI and vice versa. So basically, two-way. Okay, is there no example for this? Let me ask an example for this, right? Let me copy this, paste it right here. Change the address. Copy the JavaScript. Change the JavaScript and save it. And what to expect from this is two-way binding. As you type in the input field, the displayed name and email updates instantly, and if you change the data in the browser console, the UI updates to show the new value. Reset button, clicking the reset button clears both fields, and no manual DOM manipulation. You never have to write code to update the HTML directly. Okay, yes, the views rendering model handles it automatically. So what's your name? My name is Suchit Sharma. What's my email address? It's none of your business @gmail.com. Alright, and resetting it simply clears both of these fields. What is this an example of? What is this an example of? This is an example of view model pattern. Basically, the model is your data, whatever we are entering here. The backend is the data. View is what we are seeing on the screen, and view model combines these two and presents it to us in this at the same time. All right. Why do I need a view model? It keeps your console organized and automatically syncs your data and UI. We are not bothering to see the hectic code that's present here. However, you can take a screenshot. I'm stopping this right here so that you can understand this on your own. This does not require my explanation at this moment. Okay, guys, let me have some water. Really refreshing, really refreshing. So let's see. What are the computed properties? Basically, function that return values based on your data and automatically update when dependencies change. What does that mean? As you type in either input, the full name updates automatically below. Hmm. Let's make an example of this. And I'll have to explain this code because it is given in the example itself. It is given in the file itself. Alright, so we have in the JavaScript established the connection and have a data of first name and last name. Basically, two of the cases inside the data key. Inside computed, we have full name, which contains a function that is return the first name from here and the last name from here. Let's connect these two. Okay, and v model first name takes the input of first name in the first name section. V model last name takes the input in last name section. And finally, this section prints the full name. All right. And how does this print the full name? Whatever you do here, because of this code, because of the connection we established between HTML and JavaScript. The full name is, as you see, Chaitate. Let's change JRMA. Okay, this is the same code, but as you type in either input, the full name updates automatically below. All right, so I can segregate this. In the previous example, we had only this section, right? We had only this section, and this one was empty. Assume that this section was empty. Changes in this would result in changes in that section only. However, we can do this side by side. This is okay. What is this? Called computed properties. That functions of the JavaScript, functions of the JavaScript when they return value based on your data and automatically update them right here. All right. How are computed properties different from methods? Computed properties are cached and only recalculate when the dependencies change. Okay, what are dependencies? Basically, dependencies refer to the relations in DBMS course. If you have taken DBMS course, you would remember dependencies, something like this. I have taught dependencies myself on this channel only. If somehow you can find this, then it would be good, right? Remember, then this aims to some C, right? These are the dependencies. If you're not taken that course yet, no worries. You'll study this in DBMS. Watchers. What are watchers? Basically, functions that watch a data property and run the code when it changes. Okay, the property of the data. Watchers watch the property of a data. Okay, let's make an example out of this. How do they watch the property of a data? है ना? What property? It being a number, it being a long integer, it being a string. What property? Okay, let's ask, what property are they referring to? Search is a property defined inside the data object. Okay, so basically we have in the JavaScript, search is a property that we have defined inside the data object. So this is an object and this is a property inside it. These both are, in a sense, in the crude sense, they both are. The watcher is set up like this: watch new value and old value of a function. This means whenever the value of the search changes, for example, when you type in input box bound with the v model, the watch function runs. What does the watcher do? It receives new value and the old value of the search. In example, it sets last search to the new value of the search. Okay, let's run the code and assume to understand what they're trying to teach. So basically, search, okay, and search. I don't understand what they are trying to teach here. Last search text automatically. You can. We still don't get it. It's like the very first example that we did. All right. This automatically updates, but this is reactivity. This is not. This does not mean what watches are, right? Let's ask. This looks more like reactivity. uh, Reactivity system, they are tool for responding in reactive properties, but they are not the same as core. How are the watches related to reactivity? Reactivity in Vue means that when you change a reactive property, Vue automatically updates a part of UI that depend on it. Okay, and watchers are a way to listen for changes on the specific reactive property. In example, the search property is being watched. Okay, whenever the search changes because of reactivity, the watchers function runs, letting you perform side effects like updating last search. Give me a better and more visual example for this with clear distinction showing watchers. All right. Let's copy this. This is a hefty code. This is a hefty code, but better to have clear instructions than vague applications. What to expect? When you pick a new color, the preview box updates instantly. Okay, and every time you pick a new color, the watcher adds the color to the history. Okay, let's see. Okay, so whenever I add another color, the watcher adds it to the history. Okay, so this is added to the history. Every last color that I go to is added to the history section. Okay, okay, reload this. This is best. All right, so I choose this, then I chose this, then this, then this. Okay, so whenever I choose this, the change shown here is reactivity. All right, however, the update in the list shown here is watcher, as watcher, basically logging whatever we did earlier. All right, really good. This example is really good. And again, I won't be explaining the code. Okay, I won't be explaining you the entire heavy code. Here is the code. If you guys want, just take a screenshot. 3, 2, 1 screenshot. And for the second section, 3, 2, 1 screenshot. For the last part, 3, 2, 1 screenshot. Same goes with the JavaScript. Alright, 3, 2, 1 screenshot. Done. Although I am completely capable of explaining this, but there's no meaning in explaining this because this will eventually make the video longer. And I hope that you guys, after consistently watching the lectures that I have been putting, are capable enough to understand the codes yourself or use an AI to make you understand the concepts. Okay, let's go on to components and slots and the activity. Okay, we do not have much left. Basically, what are components? Reusable self-contained blocks of UI. Okay, let's do the same. Let's ask the AI. Let's ask the AI to let me paste it right here. Okay, my bad. No worries, no worries. We'll stop this, edit this, and run this. Alright, let's see what we get. Because visual examples are always better. Visual examples are any day better. The concept that they are trying to teach is that a code or a component of a self-contained block is reusable. You can reuse it anywhere. I pasted it in the wrong box. No worries. And what's the aim of this? That you'll see three visually distinct message boards side by side. Type a name in any board and say and click say hi. The name appears in the list on only on that board. Each board keeps its own independent list of messages. You can add as many names as you want to any board, and the other boards are unaffected. All the boards use the same component, but each instant manages its own data. Okay, basically they're using the same component in the code. See, different boards in HTML. However, whenever we go to this section of JavaScript, we have a function defined here telling us the visitor name and the message to be shown. Method say hi has a function wherein it'll empty the name on refreshing, will push the new visitor name, and then again make the name section blank so that another name can come. So suppose this is a line, you give a name, it gets pushed into the stack. Well, basically it gets pushed from the bottom. It gets pushed from the bottom, but no worries. Okay, it gets pushed into the bottom, and then where is it? Then it clears. Okay, basically it clears the blank for the next use. All right, we have then visitor name, placeholder, and a button. The button is used to click and add so that the name can be added to the list. And let me see this, say hi. Okay, all of these three, Tej's board, let me remove this. Tej, Fatima, Ruth, not interesting. Let's do Amar, Akbar, and Anthony. Okay, much better name. Okay, all of these use the same code in the background. Okay, let's see. 0. So let me add Amo's board. Your name's Suchit. Suchit is in his team. It gets added here. In Akbar's board, we have, let's say, Juhi in Akbar's board, and in Anthony's we have David. All right. So individually, whenever I click on the button, it is using this simple code. All right. However, the simple code is repeated in 3 separate blocks in our example. However, we can do this n number of times. So the background code is same, but the usage for each block is independent, right? Is independent. Let's move further. What components have their own data? Yes, each instance gets its own data. As you can see, its own data, its own data, its own data, right? Unique data. How do I pass it to? We use props. In our case, we have used button. Example, BUTT1. Right, slots. So what are slots? Before slots, we have components. So components are the basically reusable. This section, this entire section. Okay, what happened? This entire section is a reusable code. This entire section is a component. A component. Okay. Now let's go on to slot. Basically, slots let you pass custom content into a component. Okay. Let's have another example for this. Another beautiful example to understand. Okay. Or a feature that lets you pass custom content. Okay, before I go, let me check the quality. Or a feature that lets you pass custom content. Okay. Okay, this is working. This is working beautifully. Let's go. So slots in a Vue.js are features that lets you pass custom content into a component from its parent. This makes this makes your component more flexible and reusable, allowing them to wrap or display any content. Let us usage. Why not give us an example? Give us a visual and excellent, however easy to comprehend example. All right, hoping all goes well. See, again, I do not recommend you guys to go through those. However, I'll recommend you to see these simpler versions. All right, to see this simpler version, simpler codes. I am using these so that we can have some visually attractive and good examples, because for the past three examples we saw beautiful visuals, and I think this that will help you understand it way faster than those boring codes. What to expect? Each my wrapper creates a nicely styled box with a heading. When whatever you put between my wrapper and dash my wrapper appears inside the box in the slot area. You can put text, HTML, list, images, or even other components inside the slot. Okay, wrapper style and heading say, but the content is fully flexible. Okay, so let me do this. So whatever we do this is, what do you want? Wrap images. Okay, so this is a custom content in the first slot. Slots can wrap any HTML you want, and slots can even wrap images or components. Okay, but what are they trying to teach us? uh, Try editing the content inside the my wrapper in HTML to see how the slot works. If you want to see the named or scrolled slots, just ask. Like, but what are you trying to teach? But what are you trying to teach? Slots allow you to pass any custom content from a parent component. This makes your component flexible and reusable. You can use the same component with different content each time. Without slots, a component can only show what's inside its template. With slots, you can create layouts that display different content in different places while keeping the layout style consistent. Okay, what does the example show? So example demonstrates a MyWrapper component that acts as a styled box. You can place any content, list, images, text between MyWrapper and MyWrapper close, and the content will appear inside the box. Each instance of the wrapper can display different contents, but the styling and heading remains the same. Okay, so basically, what slot does is makes three identical slots. Okay, what I understood is that slot made three identical slots. However, the components or the content inside each can definitely vary. This first one contains some some string. I'll write it. Okay, I won't leave it. I don't half-ass it. Then this second one also has string, but what this can represent as list, arrays, or whatever. And the last one straight up showed as a image. Showed as an image. Which image? The logo of Vue. The logo of Vue. All right. Let's make this one black to make this beautiful, Anna. Did you get my point? That slots create identical blocks in which content may be different, but the blocks, the styling, the shape, the idea behind the block is the same. Let's see a similar thing. Of let's go to YouTube. Okay, I'm not saying these use Vue, but you can see the example of slots right here. Okay, so this one, okay, color change. So this one is a slot. This one is a slot. Okay, why am I so clumsy? This one is a slot. This one is a slot. Similarly, this one is a slot. Same style, same idea behind it. That it will show something. This has different video. This has different video. This has different video. The text, the string right here is different in each of them. All right. So all of this is an example of slot and slotting. My wrapper is displayed inside the wrapper component. Yes, this is shown. Okay, and basically what my wrapper does is wraps the content inside the slot. Okay, the idea, the CSS styling, the whatever you want to call it. So this is the content, and if I do wrapper around it, that is this blah 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 wrapper, right? It will take this content and put it inside this slot. All right, done. Let's move on to YU slot to make component more flexible and reusable. Yes, we got it. Reactivity under the hood. Under the hood. Okay. How does Vue know when the data changes? In Vue 2, it uses object dot defined properties to watch data properties. In Vue 3, it uses JavaScript proxies. You don't need anything special. Vue tracks the changes and updates the UI for you. Do I need a view? Do I need to understand this to use Vue? No, but it is good to know how Vue's reactivity works. Okay, under the hood. Okay. Best practice: use compound properties for derived data. Use watchers for side effects or complex reactions. Always provide a unique key while operating V4. Break your UI into components for usability. Leverage declarative rendering. Okay, and this sums up our week 4. To completely, finish this for the final blow, I'll be solving the activity question, and after that the practice assignment. Have I done the practice assignment here? Let me reload this. That will kick me out. Definitely. No, it did not. Okay, I'm lucky in that sense. I have done the practice assignment. So better to do the practice assignment itself rather than just doing the activity question. Or we can even do the activity question. There's no issue in that. I don't think there will be much. Let's do the activity question first. The activity question is: V is a JavaScript based reactive framework. Yes. JS is always rendered on the client side. No. Requires page to be refreshed to experience reactivity. No. It does it dynamically. Which of the following statement is true regarding Vue? At click can be used for shorthand on, I don't know. Both VF and VShow are used for, nope, not conditional no, they are used for conditional rendering. Both of them are used for conditional rendering. The method they do conditional rendering is different. For if it will either add or delete the component in the DOM file. However, in VShow uh, it will either hide it or show it. Okay, the Vue directive v4 is reactive. Yes, it is reactive. So I guess the first one is also correct. See, it's either this or that. Okay, nothing in between. Okay, so consider the following Vue application with markup index.html. We have app1, app2, app3, and the messages, and it has a section of message. And in the JS code, we have app connection established to app1, data Kumar. For app2, we have Rajput, and for app3, we have Abhishek. What will be rendered by the browser? So, what will be rendered by the browser is the messages. The messages, okay. Constant A, constant B, constant C, constant A, B, and C. However, which one is applied? Okay. So what they are showing is, I think this one is correct, but there's a printing, right? Let's wait and see the answers itself. Computed properties generally derived from reactive properties of Vue instances. So let's go to the file itself. Let's go on to computed properties, conditional rendering, classes and this. Okay, reactivity. Where is it? Computed properties. Yes, computed properties. Basically, a function that return value based on the data automatically updates on the dependencies. Okay. Computed properties are reactive. Yes, they are reactive. And I don't know. We'll see. Okay. Which of the following are true regarding computed properties? The computed properties by default getters only should be directly mutated. Uh, it should be directly mutated. I guess it is by default getter only true, but let's wait. Which of the following statement is correct for the view framework? The computed property. Okay, how many questions on computed property? However, they only provided a bit of content here. Why is it that they provided a really less content? But let's see, let's see. Okay, consider the following programs. Suppose the value of property is active, is true. When this is true, okay, then what will be rendered by for the program? It will be rendered none of the above. It does not render like that. It does not render like that. Mhm. Okay. So considering the next question, it does render like that. So so it will render class 1 v bind. So the class equals to class 1, and if it is active, is there a code for this? There's no code available here, right? So I'll assume that def class equals class 2, and def class equals class 1. That's a guess. That is a guess. No. So where was I? In the ninth question, consider the following markup: index.html and JavaScript file app.js. Uh, we have ID, we have bind, style, style1, style2. Then we have hello world. In the JS, style1 is red, style2 is just font weight being bold. So this is an example of, I guess, this classes and style, right? Classes and style. When we bind different styles to different objects, and constant object style1, style2. Okay, okay. What will be the color and font weight of the text hello world respectively? Is there a button here? There's no button here, right? So this will immediately be red and bold. Red and bold. If there was a button to change it, then we would have considered it. Style 1 and red, and there's this style 2 also, which will do it bold. And style 2 object. Then in this case it will be red and normal, because we have not mentioned style 2 there. Okay. Which of the following is true? An element with v if directive is always rendered is irrespective of the conditions of the conditions truth value. Okay. An element with v show directive is always rendered irrespective of conditions truth value. I don't know. Let's see. So how do if and show differ? Let's get to that, right? Let's get to that. How does if and show differ? So for if, it adds or remove, and shows, it basically deals with the CSS. So basically in if value, it will always be rendered in the conditions truth value. All right. uh, no, 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 because what if does is, if it either adds or deletes, right, it does not hide. So it will always be rendered in the case of vshow value, where it just hides the value and the value exists inside the DOM. For the 12th question, if vif and v4 is used on the same element, is used on the same element is used on the same element, what is used on the same element is used on the same element, which of the following is true? vif is evaluated first and v4 is evaluated first, depends on order in which they are mentioned. Basically it depends on the order in which they are mentioned. Which of the following is are true regarding attributes in view? It allows us to directly reference DOM elements. Yes, ref can be accessed only after element is mounted. I don't know. Let's check the answer. All right. Okay. Why is V4 evaluated first? And what is ref can be accessed only after element is mounted? What is mounting? All right. So let's go. Let's see what mounting is. Also tell what what mounting is. So directly refers the ref attribute in the view lets you assign a reference ID to the element in the component. Okay, you can then access this element or the component directly using a dollar ref in your view instance. This is useful when you need to interact with the raw DOM node or component instance directly. For the example, right? Accessing after mounting. What is mounting? Basically, mounting refers to the process where view creates the actual DOM element based on your template and inserts them into the page. In technical terms, before mounting, view prepares the component and its data, but the template hasn't been rendered in the DOM yet. Okay. Mounting. View renders the template and attaches the result DOM elements to the actual page. Okay. After mounting, the component is visible and interactive in the browser. Lifecycle hooks and mounting. Called after instances is created, but before mounting. Called after the instances has been mounted. Refs are now available. Refs are now available. Okay. How is this incorrect? How is the order not significant? Let's see. When you use both the if and for, if and v4 is always evaluated first. This means will loop over the list, and for each item then it will check if condition. Why is it so? But in view 3.x this was changed and if is now evaluated first. Okay, not depend on. Why doesn't, if you want to filter list? Okay, so there are, depending on which version of view do you have, it will change. View 2.x is widely used, so if and for, then for is evaluated first and then if. However, in view 3.x onwards, this thing has changed. Mhm. Correct, 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 correct. Okay, class 1, class 2. Why? Let's ask. If class equals class 1 and we bind class equals class 2 is active. All right, and the question is, okay, okay. The element always has class 1 because it is written directly in the class attribute. Okay, If is active is true, then class 2 is also added by views vbind class directive. So when is class is true, the resulting HTML will render this. Okay. So when this is true, what view will do is this will basically bind it, bind this onto this. Okay. What does, okay, explain this in its entirety. Entirety. All right. Let's see. Hmm. Are cached based on their reactive dependencies. This means that Vue.js, when you define a computed property, Vue will remember the cache, its value, as long as the data it depends on hasn't changed. If you access the computed property multiple times and its dependencies are unchanged, Vue returns the cache value instead of recalculating it. Okay, computed property is a special function in which in Vue that returns a value derived from other data properties. It is defined inside the computed option of the Vue instance. Okay. Makes sense. Makes sense. So remember that example of color shading. The code remember the color that we visited earlier. Okay, okay. So that makes this make much more sense. Okay. Are cached based on the reactive dependencies. Okay. What is this? Let's see. Computed properties are by default getter only, and a computed property should not be directly muted. Okay, so let's understand the first one. By default, a computed property in Vue is defined as a function that acts as a getter in return. Okay, okay. Since it remembers what we clicked on before, since the previous example was remembering the color that we visited before, so the function, the part where it remembers and prints it, so that particular function has to be a getter to get the memory as cache of what we have been doing, right? This is a memory based thing. Okay. And should not directly be mutated. We should not try to assign a value directly to a computed property. That this will not work unless you have explicitly defined a setter. By default, computed properties are read only. If you try to mutate them, uh, you will get a warning or simply have no effect. Yes, since they are only remembering where you went, since they are only remembering the cache, they are only remembering the history, they will basically be immutable, because you want them to remember the entry that you want. What use is a history log when you can go and edit it, right? Anyway. Okay. Computed properties are reactive, and they are generally derived from reactive properties of few instances. That makes sense. Okay, the message is Kumar. And why is it Kumar? Rishi Kumar. So okay, okay. So it will print the very first one and will not consider the next two, because there's only a single message option. Okay. Vue.js is always rendered on the client side. Okay. Since I'm the client, it will be rendered on the client side, and the Vue.js requires the page to be refreshed to experience reactivity. Okay, I'll remember that. 12 out of 13. What am I missing? Am I missing something? What am I missing? Am I missing something? Okay, yes, I did not change this. Let's move on to practice assignment 4. I'll see how many questions does this have. This has 8 questions. And consider the view application with markup index.html. We have index.html app message and connecting it to the JS, and the JS will print message. Okay, app welcome to the IITM online degree. What will be the rendered output? App equals to new view object. Okay, after this section is completed, it makes a new view object and the message is said to be welcome to the online degree. Okay, so I think it will go with the initial one. My guess is it will go with the first one because it will execute this one first and then it will perform this. However, this is not printed. That's what my theory is. Is it printed? I don't think so. We have app, we have directive, and then connection to JS. We have app and we have text, okay, which has red color and says hello IITM. If the app renders hello IITM red in red color font, what is the possible directive for directive mentioned in div with ID app? Div with ID app. What is the directive for it? Okay. E dot bind, I guess, because I have never heard of read slash HTML text. Okay. Consider the following view application with the markup index.html. Okay. We have if it is dark and the style, okay, then binding it with style of message, else it will simply be message. Okay. Button, we have toggle theme, change theme. We can click on it to change the theme, and then a connection setup, and then a connection set up to the Java script. In the JavaScript, we'll go into messages, IITM degree. The dark has to be true, and the color is black, or background color is black, and the color of the text is white. Definition here. We have to fill a definition here. If the application toggles between dark theme and normal theme on click of the button with text change theme, what will be the possible definition of toggle theme method, right? So what it had initially was, let me remove this, right? Dark theme, basically, array, dark theme, that is this one. All right. And a light theme. Okay, with something written. Let's see. Let me write SIT in the right light theme, and a dark theme where SIT is written like this. Okay, I hope you understand. Dark theme being text color being white and background color being black. Normal theme being text color being black and background color being white. Okay, so toggle theme, this dot dark. Okay, I think this one is correct. Why is this one correct? Because this dot dark, but dark is already set to true. Okay, so this one is correct because we are not inputting. See, this dot dark would have come when when we would have been inputting the, you know, we would have been inputting the status of dark. If we are not inputting it, then dark is in itself changing. Okay, again that is my theory, or else this one is correct, right? This one would be correct. We can only tell after submitting, है ना? Which of the following is true regarding computed properties? It is a function which is triggered when the data is, it refers to changes. Okay, it is a regarding it is triggered when the data it calculated each time it is used. Yes, it generally used when some property used multiple places in an application. No. Which of the following is correct regarding watchers in view? It is function which is triggered when the property refers to the change. Watches are defined inside the watch object. I don't know. Let's see. This one seems correct, but I cannot comment on this one. Alright. And there is no way to remove this one. Consider the following view application with markup index.html, JavaScript, app. Okay. So we have app, comp1, comp2, and a connection established to Java. Right. In the Java code, we have template. This is name and with really fat font. Okay, the name is set to component 1 and constant app makes a new view application. The render, what will be rendered by the browser? This is okay, this is name and okay, this is component 1 because they are rendering this is name and the value of the name is established in the upcoming lines as component 1. Okay, let's go on to the new question. Then there is a for loop wherein messages in messages, message in messages, and the message being set to message. A connection to JavaScript is established. Okay, then the template is message dot message. Then props to message. Okay, in the data section, messages key refers to a array, which inside that array there is another three objects which have key messages on the each index, and the values being this is message 1, this is message 2, and this is message 3. The component key right here has the value okay, so what will be rendered by the browser? I have no idea. I'll have to see. Which of the following is true? Vue framework can be used for creating single page application. No. Can only be used in backend development. No. Integrated with an API. I don't know. Let's see. Let's check. Okay, it can be. Okay, I read it cannot be. Okay, it can be. Okay. Okay, guys, always read these questions properly. Huh? I show you the live example of silly mistake. This is message 1, this is message 2, this is message 3. Okay, so this one. But how did it get the numbering? Okay, so it got the numbering here from the for loop. Okay, this no text will be shown in the browser. Why will there be no text shown in the browser? Let me copy image, let me paste the image, let me see the question. Also copy this image, paste it right here. This is image in its entirety. Okay, Let's put it right here and ask them. Mhm. Render an empty div. Okay, okay, okay. So since this section is empty, not registered, nothing is displayed. Okay, so if we wanted to display something, what should have been there? Okay, so how did they register the component? How did they register the component? Name component one. Okay. Return. There was no return. Okay. See, there was nothing here mentioned to return. There is no return. However, in the other cases, there is mention of either print or return. Okay. Okay. So, as I said, this dot dark. There was 50-50 chance. I was not wrong. Okay. V dot HTML text. Okay. Visual ID app. Okay. So the directive is VHTML text. Let's see this. What does v.html do? Alright. Okay. Let's make it wait. V. Now tell me. Okay. Okay. View directive that tells view to render. That tells view to render value as raw HTML inside the element, not as a plain text. Okay. When you the view will insert the HTML markup into the DOM, so the p tag and its style are rendered, resulting into a hello HTML displayed in red. Okay, okay. So this comes out to be red because of v slash HTML. And if this was not mentioned, how else can we achieve the same result without using v/html? I guess I'm getting the hang of it. We could have used data binding. Included property. Okay. Okay. Well, it will show welcome to IITM degree. Why? Copy image. Why will it show that, and why will it not show the first one only? So initial page would display this data mutation. Welcome to IIT degree. Updates the message probably reactively. Yeah, automatic updates whenever. Okay, so this would be true if the message was not updated after view instance. App will be give a warning and show a blank page. No warning or blank page occurs as the code is valid and follows view reactivity model. Okay, so since it is updated in the very next line after telling it is welcome after a block of code, and in the very next line we are updating and making a entirely new view object and setting the message to be that initially this would be rendered. However, since this is also added in the next line, what will happen is the page will refresh on its own and the next part is shown. Okay, let's see how much is correct now. Okay, so initially it was 0 out of 8. Okay, I was entirely wrong. Function which is triggered when the property refers to and watches are defined inside. Okay. Okay, computed property is generally used when some property is used in multiple places in the application, and it is a function which is triggered when the data it refers to changes. Okay. Yay, 8 out of 8. The Brahmastra to solve would be this. If I get this one correct properly, I am actually ready for the quiz. Alright. Chalo, see you guys. Thank you for watching. I am open to criticisms. Please mention what can I improve. Alright.